Podcast 14.
Wow. 14 weeks. This is so crazy.
3 months, yeah.
This could be our last one in this room.
I think so.
That's so
I
crazy,
think
man.
it might be.
Wow. Yeah, let's talk about our takeaways. So we started filming 14 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even more, maybe like 15.
Yeah. We've done like some side ones, but dude, we've done a lot. And we've talked about a lot. It's been a crazy journey. I think dude, I'm so proud of us for staying consistent with this. That's a big one.
Yeah, we didn't miss a single week.
No. And we did multiple episodes a week of some guests too.
Mm-hmm.
I met so many different entrepreneurs at the school, just talking about the podcast. It's really brought nothing but good things, I think. It's been pretty cool.
Nothing but good things.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it definitely wasn't as easy as we thought it would be.
No. Definitely not. And that goes into some of our takeaways we're going to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to start with yours then?
Yeah.
That kind of goes into it.
Sure. So I think the first one was learning that how important it is to learn through experience. We didn't ideate too much about this podcast. We kind of just went straight into it.
Yeah.
And each week for the first probably 7 to 10 podcasts, it was insane how every time we would come on, there would be something wrong with the production or something wrong we didn't realize we needed to do. I'm like, oh, the podcaster do that? We needed the interface. We needed this and that,
Or the audio.
Yeah.
Or there's always something we need to tweak, and we're still trying to figure a lot of stuff out.
And we would have never learned all of that if we never just started. And
Yeah.
it's crazy to think with a simple project like this, there would be this many hurdles. And when our, the billionaire speakers come to our class and say, I've literally failed 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It sounded more just like a saying.
A cliche.
I think it's completely a literal statement.
Yeah.
There'll be 1,000 unexpected things that'll happen along the way.
Yeah.
But you have to just go through them. That's how you learn.
I brought up this quote when we spoke about this earlier. It's success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
Churchill.
So yeah, being able to fail over and over again, still maintaining a level of passion and enthusiasm for what you're doing. That's persistence, and that's what makes good people be great. So yeah, just learning this, if you really want to be successful in podcasting, I don't think you need a million skills. I don't think you need a bunch of talent. I think you just have to really love the process of production and making this content and doing it every single day. Really, that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about volume, really. It's sincerely about how much are you making, not just the best production you do that day. I mean, that's important, obviously, but did I ever tell you about that study where it's it was a fourth grade class, and they were their final project was drawing a picture or something of something. It was drawing they were doing a group drawing project, and one group was based on purely quality of the work, and one group is based on how much quantity they're putting out. And at the end, they compared the two, and even though one group is strictly focusing on the quality of the picture and one group is just focusing on the volume group was way better in quality than the group that focused on just quality.
Yeah.
Because they kept doing it. So learning from what you're doing is the first step.
I do remember that. It kind of ties to that point I was telling you how even though it seems like there's thousands of new podcasts starting out.
Yeah.
But 99% don't make it to podcast number 100.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
100 episodes.
100 is a lot.
There's a lot of episodes.
We've been doing this. We feel like we've become the podcast guys among all the friends we have.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 3 months. We'd be doing this for 2 years. That would take us 2 years at this rate.
Weekly,
damn near a year and a half.
Yeah, weekly, yeah. Which would be crazy because think of how much we learned just in 3.5 months.
Yeah, we'd be really good at this.
Yeah, we would.
If we just kept going, I think.
Yeah, or we would have just so many more inside knowledge into how the podcasting works.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have any unique background, I'm not a $1 million company founder, but
yeah, totally.
If we did 100 podcasts, we would be experts in doing 100 podcasts, which is a lot, which is more than most people will ever do.
Mm-hmm. Also, being successful, especially for stuff we're talking about, we need more experience too.
That is another thing.
We can't just. It's so easy to talk about it. If I saw a YouTube video on this, but if Steve Jobs was talking about all the stuff was talking about, like his vision for Apple before Apple was successful. No one would even listen, even though it's Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
The reason everyone's tuning in is because he made it and he's successful and everyone wants to learn. But he was probably saying the same shit he was before he IPO'd or whatever from Apple, and you know.
Do you think of how many people actually have really grand visions, and the only difference between the 1,000 of them that have the vision and the one Steve Jobs is just the relentless
pursuit,
the
relentless pursuit to go get it, and the constant failing and getting back up again.
Yeah.
Literally, I feel like that's the only difference. I talked to a VC this week, and his 2 attributes for every successful entrepreneur. First is persistence over everything, and the second is fearlessness. Being persistent and fearless, and taking calculated risks. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, it's not about being the smartest person in the room or the most creative necessarily.
Yeah, no, your intellect helps, but like it's not gonna get you there without just a constant pursuit to fail. And every single time you fail, like you're not gonna give up at all, which is crazy. I think that goes back. I'll go to one of my takeaways. I have 2 main ones from the semester and from this experience in general. I've realized that the faster you understand what you want, the faster you're going to reach your future self that you want to be. And that seems very obvious, but I was looking at this in terms of school. Like, if I came in as a freshman knowing exactly I wanted to do banking and I wanted to be an IB, I would have like laid out a clear like roadmap. I need to like reach out to this many people, get a job at this, like get an interview at this firm, and then once I do that, then like it will lead me to this internship. I want to get this internship, like to excel, and there's like a cleared roadmap. The faster you understand what you want, the faster you can like create a vision structure for getting to that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But the more like you just kind of like hang out and like in the breeze and not really know what you want, you're still finding yourself, which is fine. I think like everyone's still doing that, especially us. Yeah. But like the faster you can like identify who you want to be in 5-10 years, the faster you can actually achieve something tangible in the present, I think.
Totally.
So I was looking at like throughout the semester, because I've been all over the place. It seems like every other week I'm like extremely passionate about a different industry. Like, oh, this week it's real estate, next week it's, I don't know, sales, like random tech sales. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like figuring out, identifying where do I see myself in 5 years and what do I need to do now to get there? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like with my experience in finance too. Like, I like if people for people to understand finance, like, you know that you got to start really, really early. To get the job you want. Like freshman year, you got to start thinking about it.
You need an internship by sophomore year. Like,
yeah,
it's a very clear roadmap.
And I did not. I didn't think I wanted to do banking until junior year. It's not even necessarily what I want to do long term, but at one point junior year, I decided this is a good place to start for me.
Yeah.
Based on my skills and interests. And I had to really like claw my way back into the recruiting cycle, you know, like not in a normal way. And like the world's not fair sometimes, you know. It's not like you're not rewarded based on natural intelligence or like creativity. You're rewarded based on knowing what you want and working hard for it. Like,
completely, dude. Yeah. That's why there's a lot of like really there are some people out there that I'm like questioning like how they got a certain job. And I'm sure we all feel that in some capacity. But like it's because they knew exactly what they wanted and they were able to strategize and be successful in their journey with it.
Yeah. But that could almost be a positive way. I mean, sure, we haven't done everything right in the past couple of years, but looking forward, you could be like, I don't have to be that special guy. I just have to want it more than someone else.
Right.
And then you could get it.
And make a plan.
That's all that
Make a plan is big.
Yeah.
What was something? I had another point on this. I kind of forgot. Oh, yeah, I was going to highlight like the importance of like
enjoying the moment. Like,
that's another one.
We can talk about that.
Yeah. Well, like I feel like we got in this like trap, this like ideologue trap of entrepreneurship, which is, I don't know, we got like kind of blinded by the spotlight of entrepreneurship a little bit.
Yeah. So like in the beginning of the semester, we were both talking about all these YouTubers really young and they're all over the internet, like how they've became multimillionaires
like seamlessly like overnight
around our age, how to get rich fast, and they're selling courses on things that they don't even do, right?
Yeah, since like really.
But and at a certain point, all those things started to, flood my feed on Instagram and everything, and
Yeah.
I became disillusioned.
All you're seeing is this 22 millionaire who like made some like digital marketing agency, and now he's a millionaire like overnight seamlessly, and now he sells like coaching lessons, which is probably the reason he's rich, because people like us are buying it.
Partially, he's definitely there's definitely real like success to
Yeah.
it. But the point is that it's not everyone can follow the exact same path he does, right? And then
Yeah.
not everyone, and like it gave us this idea that we could start a podcast and I can drop out of school overnight. Like these things take time.
It's just not real.
It takes
And
experience.
also, like I was so turned off by like the corporate world. I'm like, I don't really want to work. Like, I don't want to do the rat race. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to do all this bullshit. Like, I want to just do my own thing and like make my own business and create my own career and be my own boss, which I will one day. I will one day.
You will.
But like,
Guaranteed.
yeah, but like it's coming right out of college and saying that is a whole nother problem. Like it's great. I really look up to people who are starting their own company and their business right now, because it's really, really hard, and you need a lot of skills and you need a lot of resources,
Takes a lot of risk too.
a lot of risk. And the best entrepreneurs, they calculate risks. So like, yeah, I could go work for a startup right now and make no money, but like I'm not. First off, like I'm gonna have no like capital to do anything or maneuver. I'm sure I'm gonna learn a lot, but there's so many cons involved. Like it's hard to function when you aren't getting a stable paycheck like that. So I don't know, getting a paycheck is really important. As dumb as that sounds, like that's starting to make a lot more sense to me. Like growing up, the semester it's not all like a fairy tale where you can just be an entrepreneur and it's just gonna work out for you.
Yeah.
You need a paycheck, you need some kind of like source of income to make your dreams a reality. Sometimes you sacrifice like some of your passion for that.
Yeah, and not saying entrepreneurship is a fairy tale. That's something that I think it's great for a lot of people to pursue. But there's certain realities you have to face in terms of how many failures there are. Like how many startups fail? Like most of them, the majority of them. And you got to have a backup plan. You got to have 10 backup plans, 10 startup maybe, And if you're willing to face those risks, take calculated risk, and take the time and be patient with it, and put your head down and grind, something will come out of it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the time, like really successful entrepreneurs always have a safety net too.
Second idea, yeah.
Like they'll work at like what?
What'd you say?
They'll have a safety net.
Safety net, yeah.
Like they'll work at a company for like 8 years or something, and like they'll be really successful, and then they'll also like save their money well, and so they can like take the leap and leave the company. And usually the company's like, oh, like if this doesn't work, you can come back always. Huge safety net. But also like they've saved up enough money to have like capital and resources, so like if they do fail, like they aren't going to be like living on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for us, it's a different story.
Yeah, totally.
Like if we failed somewhere, it's like, okay, where do we go to now? Like there's no safety net. We start from scratch. So I think it's about calculated risk taking and obtaining skills, getting a paycheck, getting resources. Don't quit your day job for
a side hustle.
A side hustle
project.
Right. Even though it's important. I think he's got to grind really hard, like 9 to 5, whatever, and then whenever you have free time, like go get it. Go chase what you want. It's hard to find like your true north, like follow your passion, but still like get a paycheck at the same time.
Yeah, but if you care enough about it, there's always enough hours in the day. Like even if you work in finance or whatever job that's time consuming, if you cared enough, there's always weekends. You could always drink less and
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like I was just telling Steven earlier, like we spend so much of our days hungover. There's like so many times where my day is ruined because of what I did the night before. And I'm just thinking like if I didn't go out as much, if I didn't drink as much, like I'd be like twice as more productive than I usually am.
Yeah.
But like you can't sacrifice some of these memories in college for that right now. We're blessed to say that. You know what I mean? We're not like in a dire need for money right now.
We're in a position of privilege, but everyone has their own choices to make.
Completely. So I think that's like enjoying that all we can. But I think once you get like it's so lame to be doing that when you're 25. I think. If you're 25, like you haven't made it, you're going out 3-4 nights a week. Like I think you're a loser.
It's like we were just talking about before the podcast. I was telling Tyler all these even successful rappers, a lot of them that you think are doing drugs and drinking all the time, they did. But a lot of them, once they become really successful, they
Like,
decide to stop.
That's not sustainable.
You can't sustain that level of success and respect and
Yeah.
not go to jail if you keep on doing
Right.
the stupid shit you do.
Yeah,
all day.
it just doesn't make sense. Like, you can't. You won't be able to function.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have too much responsibility. Like, you have too much to do
Yeah.
to be hungover all day and not be able to work effectively.
Right.
So I think definitely, like, this is the last getting it out of my system.
Yeah.
Get it all out of the system before it's
Yeah.
like time to really settle down, lock in.
Like, we don't have to be sober for the rest of our lives, but just more moderate drinking, not like
Yeah.
stupid drinking for the sake of
Right.
drinking.
Yeah, because we're in college and we say we need to do that. I
Mhm.
think that leads me to, like, one of the bigger takeaways I had was we got in this trap of, like I mentioned, like, this entrepreneur crazy mindset, which is great, but we were, like, our YouTube feed was flooded with all these entrepreneurs, and I was constantly pressuring myself to think about, okay, what can I do now? I need to be working. I was creating all this anxiety for myself to be something,
Mhm.
and I was sacrificing the present moment. And I think it's okay to give yourself permission to have fun and to live and play in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, our life is about having fun at the end of the day.
This is funny to say, but you know what really struck with me is that when we watch Dazed and Confused, it's the last day of school and everyone's trying to just find a party, right?
Yeah.
And these kids that were really smart, probably going to great colleges, they're like, I feel like my entire life I've been forward looking. Every single moment of my life I've been preparing for something in the future. But what's the point of constantly preparing for the future when the future
Yeah.
extended is just death? You know,
Right.
Like when you're 60, you can prepare for when you're 70. When you're 70, you can prepare for when you're 80. When you die, like at a certain point, you gotta stop and smell the flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think winning is living in the present moment, and winning also is being in the now, being on time with the unfolding moment in front of you. And I just been trying to be more present with that. And I think if you're always thinking about the future and you're always psyching yourself out, like trying to be something, you're just not going to be, like, fully in the moment. And that's something I struggle with this semester, because I was just constantly thinking, okay, I need to make it. Like, I need this job. I need this much money next year. I need to reach this goal. And these are so important. Like, obviously, it's extremely important to set these goals and standards for yourself. But when you let them consume you to the point where you can't even enjoy being present, you aren't alive, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, you really aren't alive. You're just always somewhere you aren't. Like, you aren't where your feet are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just being able to control your ambitions and not let your ambitions control you is something I've really been working with this semester.
I like that a lot. Don't let your ambitions control you.
Yeah.
Because it can. It really can.
I mean, like, there were so many times this semester where I was overwhelmed, where I'm like, this podcast needs to blow up, or, like, I need to get this job or else I'm a failure. Or if I'm not hitting this bench PR, like, I'm not taking steps forward. And you're so anxious, like, you aren't being able to be in the moment. And we talked with this psychologist who was the head psychologist for the Seattle Seahawks, and he kept emphasizing your highest performance is when you're constantly in the moment. Like, you should always be trying to reach that flow state where you're just fluid in the moment.
I think this podcast is a good example of how we approached it with a healthy mindset. If we started off thinking, like, when are we going to blow up? When are we going to blow up? We probably wouldn't reach podcast 14.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
we thought so much about, like, how are we going to look? Is this good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't reach podcast 14.
Yeah.
We came in with a really healthy mindset. We told ourselves, in the first couple episodes, we weren't going to post it on social media. We weren't going to tell anyone about it. We were just going to, tell our close friends about it and just do it and just have fun with it,
Yeah.
And I think we approach each week kind of with that present mindset of, this is 13. We're not caring about 12 or 14. This is 13.
Right.
And that's what got us through to here. And then I think that's the approach you should take into life. It's just one step forward. And then one day you're going to look back and be like, holy shit, I've come so far.
Yeah.
And you won't reach there if you're constantly looking backwards or forwards.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, your highest performance is when you're constantly focused on like what you're doing currently,
Just
and
the
not
next step,
an hour from now or tomorrow or a week from now. It's what am I doing right now? Is it I'm going to class? Okay, go be present in class. Am I going to go to the gym? And go to the gym, but it's whenever you're just like flooded with future thoughts, it can be really, really damaging and affect like your performance in the now.
Mm-hmm.
So, not working with that has been something I feel like we're always gonna be battling because we always want more. You know what I mean? We always want the next thing. That's human nature. But
gotta live in the now.
yeah, figuring it out.
These things, people say it in books, they say it in religion, they say it in this and that, but people they say it because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the core principles to living a happy life. Just be present.
Completely. And give yourself like permission to have fun and just to smile through it. Like there's so much stress out there. There's a great quote I heard one time. It's the worst things in my life never happened to me. I think that's how it goes.
What does that mean?
It's like there was a million things that went wrong and none of them ever happened. It just means that we are always like needlessly worrying about stuff, and most of the time it just never happens.
Yeah.
Like we just like we're constantly thinking about like all the things that can go wrong, and most time it never goes wrong. And it's just we're constantly like thinking about
the funny thing is, even when it does, you realize it's not as bad. Like this too shall pass. You know, anything that you think it was really horrible and unable to for you to get past, you do get past it eventually. And
it's just like give yourself permission to be happy in the moment. I think that's a huge one. It's one of my biggest takeaways, I think.
Yeah.
Just like right now, like we're in this stage where we could be thinking about a million other things, with whether it's like after graduation, what we're gonna do in the summer. But like we have a week of school left, and just having fun doing what we're doing now, like podcasting, about to go to the gym, you know.
Yeah.
I want to learn like how to reach this flow state more often. I think that was a really cool perspective. Yeah,
there was, in our classes, one of the speakers talked about being in a flow state.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment where you're doing something and you're completely engrossed in it, and you're at peak performance, peak creativity.
It's like peak. You're just fluid. Dalen asked a cool question. He's like, how can I be a visionary and still be in the present all the time? You know, constantly envisioning the future. And he had a cool answer. He's like, well, because like you're imagining the future, like you imagining is you being present. Like that's like you like exercising creativity. It was cool. Yeah,
but still you gotta one step forward, right?
Yeah. Continue to put a step forward. Any step forward is a good step.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other takeaways? I'm trying to think. Such a fun semester.
Yeah.
It really has been. I think my favorite semester obviously is always gonna be freshman year. And then probably this year.
This was a different one for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even take classes.
I have classes, but like I don't know, just being the last semester made you like make certain decisions you wouldn't make.
Yeah, it made you say yes more. Like we talked about yes week. Like we're just saying yes to whatever we can.
Yeah, the podcast is part of the reason why this semester is different, but it's not the whole reason.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like a mindset, like a therapy session weekly we've had. I feel like whenever I feel like I was getting off frequency or off tune, I would just think back on our talks and look back to like what we talk about, and that kind of like guides me back towards who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If I were to sum up a lot of the things we said this semester, and even from the class, being present is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Try to figure out where you want to be. Like you're not going to find your passion like overnight if you don't know it, but try to think about it more. You know, try a couple things. And then gravitate towards things that draw you more naturally, and then walk down.
Amen. Amen, dude. Go to the things that feed you.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote this down a few times, but sometimes figuring yourself out is more of a process of elimination, and taking away the things that you are not leads to the things who you are that feed you. So if you're trying to find your true north, maybe ask yourself, what do I not like to do? Or who do I not want to be? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that might lead you to a path of who you actually are, you know?
Yeah. And you won't know that by, watching Netflix in your bed, but you will know if you go out and try things, you meet people, say yes to things.
Go fail. Yeah. Go start something.
Yeah.
Go fail at it. and then carry enthusiasm if you still like it.
Yeah.
Take some risks. What do you say was, our speaker this week said the number one limiting thing of any successful person is their fear of people thinking about them negatively. Is that what he said? It was like FOPO.
Oh, fear of
people.
It's people's opinion. Fear of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
FOPO.
Yeah.
It's the biggest reason people don't do anything they want in life.
Or succeed. Because they're scared of the outside judgment.
Yeah.
So just do it and don't care what other people think. That's a great book. Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That kind of goes into that.
Yeah.
That mindset.
I was talking to someone about this the other day, but Sean actually.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you didn't have any friends or family, like, what would you do differently? Like, if there's no one that like opinions that you cared about really mattered.
That's a crazy thought.
Yeah.
Because our who we are is so much shaped by our family and like our environment.
Dude, I always say like like people are like, don't let your parents influence you too much, don't let your friends judge you, and I'm like, I'm not like that. But then when you do like a crazy thought experiment like the one I just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, holy shit, maybe I would do a couple things differently.
Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't drink as much. Like I probably wouldn't, like without you guys, probably wouldn't drink at all. You know, like for
Yeah.
example, like
Yeah.
my career path too. My dad was a big business guy, so he's always telling me how good an MBA is.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what.
Dude,
what
I
do
wouldn't be in
differently.
the army, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
don't think. Like that my dad completely influenced that decision,
Mhm.
and I'm so thankful for it. But yeah, dude, obviously you would lose so much to yourself, I feel like, or you'd just be a whole new person.
Yeah, because if my parents were like, you know, musicians, maybe I'd be a musician. I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like,
who knows, dude?
but maybe you should strip all of that away and really listen to what
Mm.
what like sound of you genuine. Whatever
Yeah,
you
that
say.
yeah, sound of your gen. I mean, that's completely valid.
That's an internal thing, and it's hard to listen to hear that tune if there's so many outside distraction in music. You know. Like,
Yeah, totally, dude.
You gotta quiet everything out.
Yeah,
And tune in a bit.
I think a cool thing that might identify that is like, what's the first thing you want to do when you wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Like what excites you to get out of bed? You know, for
Yeah.
me, it's like I can't wait to go to the gym. You know, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like a weird feeling. Like I get draw. Like I want to go get cracked off caffeine and go to the gym.
Yep.
That's like
But
it's like a drug.
that's definitely true for you. But I'm wondering how much environment influences not just that, but other
Mhm.
things too. Like, what if we weren't at USC? What if we lived in a different country? That's why I feel like
Yeah.
we need to get out of our environment sometimes. Like, maybe away from certain friends and family. Like, maybe go travel, go be in nature more.
Yeah.
Because that's when the outside distraction that's part of your constant routine aren't there anymore. And that's why when people study abroad, they feel like they can be someone else, or the personality shines
Yeah.
differently
You learn a lot more about yourself.
because so much of who you are is your environment, and maybe you need to go to different environments to test out like other parts of yourself.
One of my favorite stories from Greenlights was when I know we talk about this a lot. McConaughey went to the Amazon.
Yeah,
He was like
that was crazy.
he was struggling with being famous because he was losing who he was,
Mm-hmm.
and he felt like he wasn't the same person anymore. Didn't like who he was, so he stripped himself all his belongings and went to the Amazon, and he floated in the Amazon River naked because he had this like dream, like this motive to go do it. And we can all relate to that because like whenever we lose touch where we are, maybe we need to like go find it somewhere, I guess. It sounds kind of
Like
cliche.
in a place where all these really powerful external influences aren't there. Being super famous in America, like walking down the streets of LA and everyone knowing you, that's like a very powerful external influence.
Yeah.
It's gonna ultimately shape a big part of like what you do and how you think. But once he gets out of that, maybe he tunes into more of who he actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, yeah. Oftentimes it's right where you found, like you left it.
Yeah.
That's usually,
Right where you left it.
yeah. Like when you lost something, oftentimes it's right where you left it. You know what I mean? Like it's like when you lose yourself, you're still there. You just got to go
Go back to before you
shake your
something else
Yeah,
happened,
yeah. But he like went to the Amazon and like he like had this ring from his dad, threw his ring out, like everything he owned. Like his he had this like American baseball cap, like he was as his like tribute to America, threw it out too. Like everything was gone and just like went naked. I mean that's like that's pretty extreme, but like we could all get a little bit of that, I think. We could all Go figure it out a little more.
This point is a little bit different, but it's also, I think it's interesting how like even really famous, successful people have their own problems. Like,
dude, absolutely.
you'd think that McConaughey has the dream life, but he was probably struggling more with identity and
Dude,
like self-esteem than
like
most of us ever.
Most people are more vain and insecure the second they reach like that point of fame or success.
It's hard not to feel the anxiety and pressure.
Yeah, dude. The people highest up have the lowest self-esteem. That's a Kanye quote.
Okay, I don't know if that's like.
I think it's true, dude. Like you're constantly being like viewed under like this big lens. You have to be like a perfect person. Everyone's judging you. Like you're obviously be a lot more insecure, like in thinking about who you are more.
You're definitely thinking about your self-image more than other people are, because the spotlight's on you, and you end up having more like mental like self-talk and unhappiness.
Yeah,
so that's where it comes from.
Yeah,
right?
totally. I don't think, dude. We talked about this before. Like your level of success doesn't correlate with your level of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't. Like you could. If you're always just chasing a goal, like the second you hit that goal, like you're not going to be suddenly happy because you hit it. Happiness comes from the joy of the moment.
It's funny because we're talking about like idolizing these entrepreneurs, and someday we want to be it, and we'll chase it. But isn't it crazy to think we might not be any happier then than we are now?
Yeah, dude, and that's kind of what I've realized. Like,
so that's a mind fuck. Like, think
yeah,
about when you're 30
of
and you have your successful fitness startup, you're on Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah.
What if you're not any more happier than you are now, and you have the same like, mental struggles, if not more?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say I'm a pretty joyful guy right now, but I hear what you're saying.
That's a good thing. Yeah. The good thing is like learn to live now and like learn to deal with your problems now, like your mental problems. Like being successful
they don't just go away.
It's not gonna fix your relationships or your relationship with yourself.
Yeah, you got to work inside out, and like this external environment's never gonna influence like what's deep down inside.
Mm-hmm.
Or first off, it shouldn't, but it's not gonna like just suddenly alter your whole like mindset, psyche, being. It's not gonna work. I think.
I like that though. It's because being human is a common struggle, and we talk about being privileged. Some people are in way less privileged, positions to listen to this. Some people are way more successful than us listening to this maybe down the road. But we all have the same internal struggles. There's struggles to being a human.
Yeah, I think you have a very realistic optimism.
I do.
Yeah. There's people, we talk about this in the car after surfing, but like there's a lot of people that have like naive optimism, where they think like the world is all like sunshine and rainbows, and they're like kind of pretending, like but they're over they're overcompensating a little too much. You know what I mean? Like they're like a little too optimistic. Like it's great to be grateful, but also it's awesome like important that like there's a lot of struggles and like there's beauty in the struggle. Yeah, I definitely understanding that that's more of like a human.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm an optimist. A lot of my best friends say I'm an optimist, but I don't think I'm like thinking the world is sunshine and rainbows.
Like, it's a realistic vision. Yeah, I think it's not just like, oh, everything's perfect.
No,
it's because it's not. I think, dude, there was this cool thought. It was like, is everything for nothing or is everything for everything? Like, I'm trying to find a way to articulate this better.
Is it about just like the meaning of life, kind of?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's just like if all this for nothing, well, does everything count or does nothing count?
It's kind of either one or the other.
Yeah,
it depends on how you view life.
You can either have like an idea like none of this fucking matters, or everything fucking matters. Like everything, like every moment, every action, every little interaction, it matters, I think. And putting value in it, it really changes your perspective.
Well, I think maybe it's a little more complicated than that, but I would definitely veer towards the more everything matters. Because people who believe nothing matters are the people who commit suicide. You know what I mean? Like
that feels a little empty.
It is very empty. Like
it's pretty empty.
It doesn't matter if you believe in religion or God or what happens in the afterlife. Like Einstein talked about this. Like he doesn't believe in God, but like he believes in all of this is a miracle. That's a fact. Like,
what
from science?
Do you believe in miracles? If you believe in miracles, you believe in God. I think that was one of his quotes, actually.
Yeah, but I know he's not religious though. I read about this.
I think he was just agnostic. Like he believed there wasn't a being out there. He wasn't like Christian.
I think his idea was like just from understanding so much about the world from a scientific standpoint. He's like, there's so much we don't know, and this is clearly a miracle that we are alive.
Dude, this is magic.
Like we are one out of.
I was talking to this girl about this because she believed that like when we die, we just evaporate and we're soil and nothing matters. Like it was. I was watching this movie. It's like, oh, do you remember 1807? And everyone's like, no. It's like, well, that's how it's gonna feel when you die. Like you're not gonna remember anything. Where are they going with this?
Well, okay.
Oh,
I think, but that
but like
doesn't.
that's an empty like, it's a pretty empty perspective, I think, to have.
But isn't that everyone who's agnostic? Here's my point. I think you can believe in that or some version of that and still think life has meaning. Like maybe
Interesting.
here's how I believe in it. There's this book called whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it. It's pretty anti-religious, but it's it talks about Einstein, about how he doesn't believe in God, but he does believe in miracles. And this comedian we listened to the other day, Ricky Gervais, he was saying like, I don't believe in God, but I think life is a holiday. You know, like we're 1 in 400 trillion sperms that became a person.
Yeah.
It's a fucking miracle that you're here. There's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be hardship, but
yeah.
all this is like every second is precious. And even if after you're gone, other people take over the opportunity to live on this earth.
Yeah.
Kids, strangers, other souls, or just humans.
Right.
Doesn't mean the time you had didn't mean anything. So
yeah,
I think there's ways to look at.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I could learn more about that.
Yeah. Like even if there's no afterlife, doesn't mean you can't think everything's a miracle and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I think a lot of that comes with a lot of questions, though.
Yeah, obviously you have your standpoint.
Yeah, that comes with a ton of questions, and I think religion's the answer to those questions.
Perhaps.
That's what I feel. But I think it's cool people can just like be totally fine with like not being stressed about.
I think that's a bit of my realistic optimism.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting to think like, yeah, like this is there's no meaning to this, but I still find value and joy in it.
It helps me live like a really happy life. Like it's functional.
Yeah,
functional.
I think so. I mean, I think it's impossible to live this life without like seeking joy and being alive.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And you're just depressed.
Perhaps.
Well, we went down a rabbit hole, I think.
I think we did.
Our key takeaways. Let's go into it.
Religion aside, I think we both agree life is a miracle, and since it is, you have to appreciate the times we have. And that's something we can agree on.
Yeah, obviously. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our going into that, living each moment as it's a miracle.
Yeah,
it's a cool. Maybe that's a takeaway.
That means enjoy it, but that also means live up to your potential. That means
I mean, that means like don't be so caught up in the future that you're overly anxious to not be present. That's our first takeaway.
Yeah.
Second takeaway. What was our second takeaway?
There's so many.
I know.
You set yours and I'll say
yeah. Okay. So, being present and happy with being present. The second one I had was it don't be blinded by like a false reality. Like just, it's okay. A paycheck's important. You're gonna find your true north eventually, but like it's important to make a plan, take calculated risks. Yeah.
Be realistic about realistic overnight success.
Realistic entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
that's probably my second.
Like life is there's things you have to do that you don't enjoy. Like no matter what industry you go in, you're gonna have to.
You'll be working a shitty job sometime.
You're gonna work at the lowest position. You're not gonna get too much respect.
That's my second takeaway.
That's life. A job is to make money and provide for families. Yeah. Like learn how to work hard. Learn how to learn some skills.
Yeah.
But also slowly gravitate towards the things you enjoy because you only have one life.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be 60 and say, "Oh, I wish I'd done something else."
Right. Great takeaway. I've learned so much this semester.
Yeah.
So much.
Embrace spontaneity more. That's where kind of like a lot of the magical and enjoyable moments of life happen.
Say yes more often.
Mm-hmm.
Good takeaway.
Say yes more often.
Yeah. It's pretty great, dude.
Just keep living, man.
Just keep on living. LIVIN. Lowercase because life is no one's proper noun. And no G because life is a verb.
We're going to embrace living by backpacking Europe, just the two of us, in about a month.
In June. All of June.
It's exactly a month, I think, pretty much.
No, yeah, maybe go find ourselves in Europe. Maybe we just get a job there.
Who knows?
Credit cards and leave.
Maybe not that.
I don't know.
We're going to meet some people. We're going to see some things
see some cool things. Not be thinking about America for a month.
Get away from distractions.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe go get a little lost, get a little found.
A little lost and a little found.
You like that?
I like that a lot.
Yeah. All right.
I think that kind of wraps it up. We're approaching 40 minutes, and I think this is great. I don't know what the plan going forward with this podcast. I don't know if we're gonna do this remotely. We're gonna do our own podcast, our own content.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But it's been a great experience.
And there's zero stress with it.
Zero stress.
But thank you for still listening.
You'll be seeing us around.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing
Let's
us around.
go.
All right.
Tyler Steven.
Out.